Hi, everybody. Welcome to Carnival of Randomness. In theory, it's spring, but it's Rochester, so it's like snowing out on Palm Sunday. And not the Kurt Vonnegut book, The Weather, and Palm Sunday, you know, with the palms and the donkey and whatever. And Greg was here, but he went out to get a banana split. We hear the ice cream truck, so we had to lower Paul's IQ and make him the drummer.
I'm the honorary drummer today.
So we're so thrilled.
I'm the butt of all the drummer jokes for a change. Huh?
Yeah. So I'm so thrilled. I always talk about music as a positive force. That's why we try to promote and push it. But if you want somebody who amplifies that statement, in which he does not only in terms of music, but in terms of other organizations he works with, which we're going to talk about, we're very thrilled to have Amanda Ashley today.
Thank you so much. That's so nice.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
you're a keyboard player, not a drummer, so we can't make fun of you.
No.
And cool flower.
Thank you. Yeah.
Everything. But how did this all start for you? When did you get the vibe to say that you had little muse come, hey, Amanda, you have to go this route, you have to play?
I always knew I wanted to be a musician. Like, if there was anything I was ever sure of in life, I knew I wanted to do something with music. I started playing when I was 6, and then I just, kept picking up other instruments. I went to Fredonia, and then I came here, straight out of college, and decided to, try life somewhere new. And my friends from college were around from this area. My ex was from here, and that was it. And I fell into the music scene just by, going to open mics and trying to make some friends, and that kind of, started everything. I met my friends in the music scene. I met my current partner, and I was just getting the experience of, being out there, and I just wanted to always get better,
And I still think, every time I hear Fredonia, all I think of is a Marx Brothers movie, Country. Doesn't it sound like that, really? It's like Fredonia for Freons or something.
Fredonia. It was an experience.
Sure. I don't know if I should tell you this story, but I guess I will. I guess one of my friends said, oh, you're not there anymore, so it's okay. One of my friends went there. He said they had, grade D meat in the cafeteria, which is lower than prison meat.
Oh, man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure there was plenty of questions. Things.
And that was a long time ago, so statute of limitations for libel are probably done or whatever else.
Now it's all fancy. They have Starbucks and they actually had a Starbucks when I was there, but I think everything's gotten an upgrade a little bit since hopefully. We hope.
Maybe you'll play a show there sometime. Probably not after hearing this show.
I would love to, yeah.
So how did you, in Tomes, I talk about when you started out, how did you start out? What were, your first gigs here, and when did...
I think so. Some of my first real gigs were at, Damien's Pub. I was in college, and I would come here on my breaks because Long Island was just, too far. Sometimes we'd have, 3-day breaks, and my boyfriend would be like, hey, come, stay with my family. So I would do that. And then I made friends with this guy Tom Rizzo. Hi Tom, if you ever listen to this. And he had this band called 3 Clouds from 9 or something like that, something 9. And he would have me open for him. So I just started doing a half-hour set, and that was some of my first experiences playing out in Rochester. And Jimmy Max too. Do you guys remember that? Jimmy Max was in High Falls.
Maybe.
Yeah. It was cool. So this is so long ago. I wasn't even graduated from college. And then when I moved here, I think one of my first gigs was Starry Nights. And then I was just trying to find my place in the scene. I've been thinking about this so much lately because I just had a birthday. But I've just been on such a journey of trying to find myself in music. Because, I have I played classical music, for piano, but I always really liked everything. So, I don't know. I think I eventually, figured out that I didn't want to pigeonhole, what type of music I wanted to play. So, I started just doing kind of a piano bar thing.
I think that, a lot of writers will say, if you say Ray Bradbury, for example, you start off trying to imitate him a little, then you find your own voice. And I think that's how a lot of people do it. Like some people will start off, even like some friends have done cover bands at first, and then they start doing their own songs. Mm-hmm. But who influenced you in terms of like music when you were young? What did you listen to?
I listened to a lot of Billy Joel. I listened to Elton John. I just got Billy Joel tickets for my birthday, which I'm like so pumped
Is
about.
he still doing the Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
Now I wonder, like with COVID, if he had to postpone it, because I know.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he postponed a bunch of dates.
Because a friend went. He said it was great. He said the way it was, like it doesn't sell out right away, but it sells out, and he'll just start going, "Okay, what do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? What do you want to hear?" And he's
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. So like I listened to like Billy Joel, Elton John. My dad always had like. My dad really listened to a lot of like strong female artists like Janis Joplin, like Natalie Merchant, Joan Baez. So there was like that going on. The Beatles, like that was going on in my house. And
Can't talk about the Beatles with Joe here.
We have the peanut gallery here, so
the Beatles, like that was like very influential for me.
That was my first album. Like, the first two albums I ever got. I got that ELO double album, $2.99. Why we all had at Gold Circle. We all had to have it. Why? Because they had the little UFO you could assemble. But my first Beatles album was the 1967 to 70 Blue album.
Okay.
And then I went backwards from there. And the first thing, though, for some reason, I should ask Julia when she's on here sometime, Julia Figueres. Some reason they would play Yellow Submarine on XXI on 4th of July every year. That was my friends and I would pretend we were the Blue Meanies and chase each other with sparklers, like Pepperhead and stuff.
I love how much fun they had with music, like just seeing that documentary that I was telling you about, Get Back. Like, if you guys ever have 10 hours that you could dedicate to... You
don't want to watch the Lord of the Rings marathon again.
I recommend it because it's just like, you realize as a songwriter, I think, how much personality, like how far you could take it. If you want to be super creative and quirky, like, that's okay, and go ahead, and I feel like they did a lot of that, and I love that about the Beatles. Like, they just crossed so many different rivers, and it was all brilliant.
And there was like a little like friendly competition, because I know Paul said, I guess there was a party in London, and Brian Wilson and Mike Love, one of them, brought an acetate of Pet Sounds, and he heard it, and he said, boys, we got to up our game.
Yeah.
That's why they did Sgt. Pepper. And I still think if you listen to Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies, it's Pet Sounds, basically. They just took it and made great album. It's like one of my summer albums, but I think Pet Sounds is like so influential to all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there was like a friendly competition. Like John would write a lot of Strawberry Fields Forever, which is my favorite Beatles song. And then Paul would hear it and go, well, I better write Penny Lane or something. I got to up my game. But it was like the friendly kind of competition where you make yourself better.
Yeah.
Except the thing about like Ringo, though, the problem was he wasn't even the best drummer in the Beatles.
Oh, I know.
You know that I have to keep this.
All those guys, they were so multi-talented. Like, they're all playing piano. They're all playing drums pretty much.
But the thing, I read a bio on him last year, and they said he was, we make fun of him. Buddy Rich would roll over in his grave because in Rolling Stone's greatest drummers, they put Ringo ahead of him. But he was the hottest drummer in the area in Liverpool. He was known as the best. And the only reason he was with the Beatles was because, can you imagine this, like, years later, because they offered him the most money. Could you imagine, like, playing with another band going, well, I could have been in them, but they offered me free pints afterwards.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like the guys that didn't join Foreigner when they went to L.A. They just felt that, it's never going to go anywhere. And they're all kicking themselves for not being in a hot band.
And you don't know at the time. Obviously, there's this film called I Shot Bono, and it's about a friend of Bono's, Paul Hewson's, when he grew up, and they knew each other, and they were both in bands. And I guess the guy was really proud, and like when U2 broke, he didn't forget him, and he said, "Well, you want to go touring with us?" Aww. He turned it down because he said he wanted to make it on his own. His bandmates flipped.
What? Why? I mean, that's crazy.
We were just talking to a bunch of musician friends that grew up in Rochester, and a couple that had opportunities to go, work and get long-term gigs in the Florida Keys or long-term gigs in Memphis, and I can't count how many people I talked to in the last week that all had a story about Rochester was home, and I didn't want to leave home, and I came back to Rochester, and I'm really glad that I did that. And, they were all talking about how life could have been different if they went someplace else, how their life could have taken a wrong turn or whatever, and how really happy they were here, because the music scene here is really fantastic.
I love Rochester.
Yeah, it's great.
I do. I'm glad, I stayed here. I've been here, I think it's been almost 15 years now, which is so crazy to me.
Isn't it amazing how time goes? I can't remember the first time I was actually thinking of Katie Morey's gig last night. And hi, Katie. I have to send you a text because I had to run because Batman was on. But I was thinking back, when I met some people, and I know I met this whole circle of friends. I know Michaela, Josh, Sam, and everything in 2012 because it was my Plastic Sons gig. And I know that. But I'm trying to remember when I first met her. It was I know it was a place to see. It was one of those gigs, and it had to be probably around the same time.
Yeah, maybe.
And I don't remember your first gig either when I saw you or not, but that's how the years pass so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've definitely have had some years. It's funny to think back to. So 5 years ago, we had our final jam I used to host this open jam at Firehouse Saloon with Bo, who's my life partner. And we, a video popped up, on Facebook that we were tagged in, and it was, the final jam with all the people that were, a part of that experience, and it was, a whole community. And we watched so many of our friends' bands form out of that, and, we made so many friends. And, we were just, I watched this video, and I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe, that ended 5 years ago, so fast. But also, so much has happened in 5 years. I feel it's been, in some ways, it feels like it's been, 15 years, It's weird. Time is, such a warp.
It is, though. And, you don't even think about it. You don't think about, what do you see it a little bit as your progression as an artist from when you started to now? And honestly, are there any cringe moments from when you started you wish you did differently?
100%, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Covering that Hanson Umbop song, that was not the best idea.
I don't have too many, cover regrets. I mean, I already covered terrible stuff.
That's the best.
I love it. I love it.
No, I always say it's bad. It's okay, it's remakes of films or cover songs. Why don't you take something, instead of taking a good movie or take something that's not so good and try to make it better?
My favorite thing to do is to
it could be a Beatles lyric.
Andy was talking about when I played at Von Mar, I used to play at the department store, and it was every other person that plays there is been there for 100 years. But they're playing more classical, whatever. So I would take Miley Cyrus and make classical music out of it.
That's hysterical.
And play it, and then or rap songs and just pretty it all up, and it was my favorite 4 hours of life every time.
Did people notice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why they and the staff loved it because they were oh my God, you just bring so much more pep, and they thought it was fun because people start to, I know I do this, my ear will try to figure out what is this song? I know this song,
right?
And you hear the melody come pull it through, but it's all jazzed or classical up. It's fun.
Yeah, that's what it's all. It's almost improv, and it's just fun. I mean, that's one of our guests on here, Kim Draheim, my friend. He said the one time for his band Static Cling, he said, maybe I could write 3 good songs a year, but there's all this great stuff out there, music for everyone. So that's what he would do. Now he does mostly original stuff. But when did you decide really to start doing? Did you had that creative vibe to do your own stuff? Because I know.
Well, I started writing music when I was 14.
And I was in I always say for artists, you can't really teach it. Maybe you can have some people to steer you in the right direction, help, but it's got to come from within somehow.
For songwriting?
Yeah. It's almost like trying to ask change from a Buddhist. They can't give it to you because change comes from within.
I believe people, I think everybody could write a song. I think
Okay.
Yeah.
Have her write a song, and then when we're done, give it to us.
Yeah.
She's not busy right now. Occupy your
just
time.
Don't ask Jill what the last song was that I wrote.
You know what? The one thing we all could do, hopefully, is write, right? So if you could write and you could just take a moment, I recommend this to some of the kids I teach. You take 5 minutes, or either in the morning or 5 minutes before you go to bed, and just write your thought of the day. And it doesn't have to be more than a sentence, right? But express how you felt, or whatever you want, you know, like take like 5 minutes of your time and write a little something. And then you could eventually, like, when you get used to putting your feelings and thoughts on paper, you know, then you could later on go back and try to make poetry out of it, you know. But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and I think also, you know, if you ask Dylan or somebody, and I could be totally wrong, but if you ask, like, how, probably just stuff he experienced, he'd probably say, do it.
Yeah.
That's it. I think if you're not afraid to fail and you can just do it, and like if I did that most of the time, it would be, well, I went through the whole day thinking it was Thursday and it was Wednesday. That would be.
That sounds like a country song to me right there.
Well, there's got to be somebody left him. Truck broke down, his liver's failing, and his dog died. That's about every
the shortest country song ever?
Or beer, something about beer.
Yeah.
It's so lonesome in the saddle since my horse died. That's the shortest country song.
Yeah, and I do
ever
think
written.
you're like, I try to figure out your style, too. I hear, like, there's so many different things in there from the piano. That's the thing, you're like a little mishmash of everything. You could say, like, indie, pianist. Do you have any description over it? You just go wherever the muse takes you?
Well, you know, like, I just say, like, pop, indie pop, soul.
Like Regina Spektor or something like that. That's what I get a vibe of there. Vanessa Carlson.
I thought it was great that you classified yourself as pop when I went to your website. It's the 2 minutes of research I did before
we don't do any, like, you're lucky we get the names right on the show.
What'd she do?
I love it. It's funny. Yeah, well, that's fair, right? I mean, I think, I don't know. I like some of my music has like a touch of funk in it. Some of it has like a little bit of a jazzier tone. Some of it's rock. I'm a songwriter, you know. Like I don't want to. I just want to write songs from my heart, and however that like ends up coming out expressed wise, that's just what it is.
It's one of our sayings we always say on the show too is there's only two types of music: good music and bad music. It's, you know, I've had like things where I've gone to a ballet and then gone to a punk show afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I went to see Joywave Friday,
Oh.
and then I stopped at Flower
I just
City.
actually saw him yesterday, Daniel.
Oh, they were awesome. Such a good, solid band. We saw them, and then I like stopped at Flower City Station to say hi to like my friends there, and they had a Tool tribute band, and it was awesome. It was so good. I was like, wow, this has been a great night. Great mixture.
It's like I remember like seeing David Allen Coe, then I saw afterwards Toots and the Maytals the next day, and I'm looking around going, I am the only person
that was at both
these
shows.
Two different crowds. It's like one of those funny things. But that's the beauty of it, though, too. If you don't, but I think, remember back in high school, though, but it was when you were in high school, they put you in a category. Like if you were the metal dude and they found out you were listening to jazz, it would be all over school.
Yeah, I always hated that. I'm not somebody that likes to be boxed in, you know, like I just want to create. My MO is like I just want to keep on creating and keep on exploring and keep on getting better at everything I do musically. Like I've been taking bass lessons for the past year, and like I started teaching myself over COVID, and you know, so like now I'm starting to explore like a little bit more funk, and I think like even some jazz, you know, like different stuff, blues, you know, so I know a lot of that because of me learning this instrument is going to come out of my songwriting.
Is there an instrument you'd like to play but you think might be daunting or just...
No, I don't know. I could geek out. Like,
I could do a good kazoo. That's about it.
I love... so for Girls Rock, we've been doing this rhythm and drum class once a month. It's a workshop and it's free. For anybody's kids, like it's nice for families. Like we've had some families come down, they bring their daughter, and the parents will sit, and we have about like 15 percussive instruments and drums, and everybody gets their choice of instrument, and like we set just like a steady rhythm, you know, and we try to teach everybody like dynamics and just like learning, but like communication through drumming. And you don't need experience to do that. You just need to know how to feel. Right? And it's been like super cool. I love it. And I just like geek out every time.
That's one thing we're going to talk about. The one question I've always been asking, so you're a working musician, you're going along fine. Then this thing called COVID comes along. And you have your cocktail hour.
Yeah.
But is that one way you reacted to it? What did you do when this hit besides just figure it'll end in a month and then figure, okay, we're here for the next 10 years?
I had a hunch it was going to be pretty much as long as it has been. I don't know. I definitely freaked out at first because I was like, what the heck? Like, what am I going to do? I had already been teaching, though, so I, like, right away just turned virtually. So, like, I started teaching. Like, I kept up with my students and just figured out the virtual thing. And then I had the idea for Afternoon Cocktail. And I'm just somebody that needs to keep my mind, like, active. Like, if I can't be active, like, I'm very on the go. If I can't have that, like, my brain needs to be immersed in something, like, creative. So doing the talk show kept me sane, and it kept me really motivated to get up every morning and to get dressed and to, like, do a presentation.
Yeah, I'm like one of those people, like, if I have an hour, like, free time, I'm, like, shaking, going, I should be doing something.
Yeah.
I should be doing something.
God,
but what I would have, like, for COVID, I ended up having my calendar out, and I would have all my friends' shows I was going to watch on the computer.
That's cool. You're so supportive. That's nice.
You know, the thing, like, I remember Alyssa, because she's like, you always have to crack me up because you make the weirdest comments if I read them, so I'm not going to read them until you're done anymore. I poured like a pedal to a hot pocket or something.
It was weird, but the interesting part about that time for me was like the other reason why I decided to I wrote a lot for that show too, and the reason why like I decided to take my writing there was because I wasn't super inspired to write my own music, and so one of my students, I wasn't inspired because I was like, I had there was just so much going on in the world. And then I'm trying to deal with my own like personal, like what the heck's going to happen? Like I'm not working, you know, like dealing with that to taking care of my child full time, you know, like it was a shake up, you know, and I was like, so doing the talk show like was just a good way to channel my creativity and to keep me like going, you know. It was fun.
Yeah, and that's like, I think you just, when you're an artist, creative people create.
Yeah.
And that's like, and I just, like I said, I have most of your stuff, but I'm so disorganized at home. This is like what I found. So I actually just grabbed one of your albums at random, Metamorphosis, one of my favorite books by Ovid. I don't think this is a concept album.
No.
But I just love it's like this satire of like a 50s family on the front. Yeah.
It's a great picture.
I mean, the only way I don't criticize everybody, what you should have had is like you with a knife on the back of them dead.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's me. I'm sicker. You're more positive. Right. But how did you come up with this idea? Because I remember getting this and looking at this and going, this is hilarious.
It is hilarious. I love it. They are my family, though. You know, I like the dog was in there, too.
And you got this actually looks like a record, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I just always like loved that like throwback look, you know, and I think it was the kind of life I wish I had that like that I didn't have at the time.
I think too, it's like simpler. We don't have to think. It's simpler times. You know, you just grow up in those roles that you're gonna do this.
The Norman Rockwells.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. It's not really.
You know, there's some.
Yeah,
it's not.
You would have been a nurse or a teacher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, probably.
What are you going to be, Paul? A fireman or a policeman?
I want to be a pilot.
Oh, okay. You dream big. You know, whatever you want to do, you can do.
Yeah.
But. Jeez. Okay. But one of the other things is we jump around on here, and we'll talk more about some of your music and albums, but one of my favorite charities, Girls Rock. And how did you get involved? Can you tell people about it?
Sure. So I've been involved with Girls Rock for 10 years. This is my 9 years as a volunteer, and this is my first year as program director. So I took over for Casey Smith, who was the founder and currently serves as the executive director. She's been like so kind enough to carry me through the process and just kind of show me the way. And it's a really great organization. So it's a 501c non-for-profit, and really our mission is to get music in the hands of anybody who desires it. You know, we offer financial aid, so we really try to offer a program to the people that maybe felt like music wasn't accessible because of finances and so on and so forth. So our program teaches kids how to write music, how to perform in a band, how to be DIY in the music business, like how to book your own shows and promote yourself, and be a good community player too, like how to network and how to, just grow. So we try to give them all the resources, and in a week they write a song and they have come up with a band. They have a band and they rehearse all week, and on Saturday they have their showcase and they perform their original song under their band logo and name. And
do they have any good, like, you have to tell the people, but do you have any, like, really good funny names they came up with for bands?
Oh my God!
Because I was willing to volunteer names for bands. What was it? Psychedelic Lollipop?
Narcotic
Lollipop.
It would make a great song, anyways.
That's
like a good
cool
instrumental
name.
Song.
Yeah. There's, I can't recall like
Like,
any
just talk,
specifically,
just.
But there's always really good ones. They're so fun. Oh man, I wish I could. I can't think. There's so many.
That's cool, but the other thing I always use this story. One of my friends told me this many years ago, and he said he hated, like most of us hated school, but he said the only reason he got through school is music class, because he hated school so bad, but he just enjoyed that and he had a great teacher.
Yeah.
And because of that, but that's why some people don't think it's important, but it is. It's very, because I think, when you have something you have a passion for, it'll drive you in other things too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Music has been so obviously influential in my life, but like it got me through a lot of things. So
it got me. I'm still alive now because of it, for all the stuff dealing with my dad and everything else. Yeah. I tell people that. So you weren't like the guy, like the Whiplash guy, huh?
The Whiplash guy?
Yeah, you ever see that movie? It's this movie. It's ridiculous. It's about a music teacher who basically brutalizes and tortures his students.
No. Oh, wait. Is it the guy from New York City, you said? Or
no, it's J.K. Simmons. It's just a fictional movie.
Oh, okay.
But like he's like the one thing he has the drummer. And he's like, okay, this is before or after the beat? Slaps him. Now, was that before or after the beat?
Yeah, he's bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
he's the guy, he's Jonah Jameson. He's in tons of stuff. He was Schillinger in Oz.
That was crazy. I was like, what the heck is wrong with this man? Like, that's abuse. No, I'm definitely not like that. I'm much easier going than that. I really think it's so important just for people to find music. Primarily have fun. Like it doesn't have to be such a serious thing all the time.
Do they just sort of float to an instrument, or like you just give them the options?
The kids have their choice of an instrument at 1 out of 5: piano, guitar, drums, bass, or voice, and they choose their instrument.
Oh, not drums.
Drums. She's breeding women drummers now. And there's going to be a whole line of women sitting in the seat going forward, which is.
Oh, Casey's been on before. So
Casey's the best. Yeah. Yeah, so they choose their instrument, they get their instrument instruction, and then in between like instrument instruction and their band practice, they have workshops that are based on confidence building, persona, like we do some like women's history, like iconic women of music, and we try to teach them about why they're influential, and they're like why they were influential during their time, kind of thing. We just try to pump their heads with really good stuff and make music as fun as possible and have them walk away like feeling hopefully like they want to start a band, a real band, outside of that.
That's why I love this. And I know some of your shows that I think at the Bug Jar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know I've been to them, and I know this was after my alcoholic phase, so I know they happened. But I remember they were like in the afternoon on Sundays, because I talked to the other Amanda a lot about these and the programs and everything there.
Yeah, that might have been early on. We did stuff with like Anthology, I believe Flower City.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year is going to be really different. So like we usually hold our camp at the Unitarian Church in the summer. So we have 3 camps now. So it started off as Girls Rock, and then We added Pride Rock for the LGBTQ plus kids, and it's the same type of program where like we, they get everything we do at Girls Rock. It's just for them.
Yeah, I love how you're all inclusive too.
Well, we try to, we really want to make a home for these kids to feel like that they could be themselves.
It is. I've always, like I said about me and myself for a lot of my life, you have to find where you belong, and I sort of do.
We want these kids to feel comfortable expressing themselves and being as they are.
And I think that's it, because I think like sometimes when you try, the biggest problem of trying anything new is like when we started this, because I would like study, bring like a sheet, and I wouldn't even be able to read my own writing. And it was really...
It's good to know you can't read your writing either, Rob. This is...
I could barely read mine. So
Mr. Calling, you should have been a doctor or pharmacist.
Yes. But it's really like, it was really rigid. You realize it's like jazz. You improvise. Like, that's why people... when people ask me the format, I go, you'll survive. It's about it. It's like, you'll have fun. It's fun. We're very casual and everything, but I can't really give you a format. We don't really have one.
It's all in the name.
Yeah.
Randomness.
Well, it sort of is, because we have like 90% musicians, because that's all I know.
Cool bunch, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, to me, what's more important, like, we don't expect everybody to walk away from that camp week sounding like, the next project.
But they feel good. The thing is, they feel, no matter how they are, what level, they feel good about it, though. There's not like pressure, like, you suck or something, or like you're down or anything. That sort of thing.
Some of these kids have never even picked up an instrument before that week, so you can't set like the bar too ridiculously high, right? But the whole point and drive behind it is to provide a safe space for people to explore their creativity.
I still think you need a shirt. Really, you need a shirt that says, "I wish I played like a girl," because I've heard this discussed. I've heard this stuff before. Like, friends will tell me, like, some guy will come up to him and say, some idiot will come up and say, "Oh, you play pretty good for a girl."
Oh yeah.
Now I would hit him over there with a guitar. Okay, that's and it's just ridiculous in this day and age.
Yeah, it's funny because like you would think we'd be beyond that in some ways, but I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of really good guy friends. Like I feel like I've always been a guy's girl too. So like it's interesting. I would love to see more women in music. Like I don't know a lot of people exactly like me, Yeah,
like, well, you name say we named like the best guitar players. Which females would you think of for rock?
Locally or
no, everybody,
in general?
Anybody.
Oh,
it would be mostly. I would think it would be mostly like you would think of men.
Bonnie Raitt.
Oh well, yeah.
Bonnie Raitt.
For me, Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy.
I don't know why
Cramps.
Joan Jett just popped into my head. Joan Jett's a lot of fun, but I wouldn't say she's the best.
She
guitarist.
actually makes a lot of lists, and I think she makes them because that's the only one these idiot critics can remember. That was Greg. but I think because sometimes I don't believe in those lists. I don't believe in those lists.
His voice has changed.
He's around somewhere, but I think like those lists are. But like Marnie Stern's fantastic. She's like in New York. She's really good. Allie Venable. Oh, in fact, I think a lot of like the younger female guitar players coming up are fantastic.
Yeah, I think there's so many different. How do you say that when there's so many genres and like different talents? Bonnie Raitt is somebody that like instantly comes to mind like for like legends, but like I can't. Yeah, I'm sure Joan Jett, of course. Like
that popped in my head because I just heard Joan Jett in the car yesterday.
I love Joan Jett.
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. But I just think like there is a still stigma or whatever for whatever reason. But like drummers and everything else, they're all great. It's what you like too. This thing is what you like too.
Yeah, totally.
And everything else, and I think people don't get that sometimes. It's like music should be fun. It's called playing, not work.
Right.
Nobody listens to music to be tortured.
Well, I've been to emo concerts and stuff. I'll take that back. Or like I've been to. I listen to The Cure.
Oh, yeah. You don't like The Cure?
Yeah, I do, but it's like, okay, I'm not like a weepy 14-year-old anymore.
Yeah. Well, I find like I turn on certain music for like different times of the day. I listen to music all day long, and it's all different types of stuff, like from like real poppy stuff to like. You ever listen to the band Royal Blood?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that band. That band is so good. Joywave to like I'll listen to John Batiste and like.
Well, he was on Austin City last
He's
night.
so good.
Did you see Royal Blood when they played here?
I did. Yeah,
that was at that show with
Queens of the
Stone Age.
Yeah,
great show.
Oh my God! So that day I closed on my house too.
Oh, cool!
So I was like really celebrated.
It was a great day.
It was the best day. Yeah, I loved it. That was a great show.
It was fantastic. I
would see them again in a heartbeat. But yeah, like I mean, so like I like rock. I love. I could go to a rock concert. You know, I could go to see like. I saw Dua Lipa. Like she's like my favorite. I love pop music, like really poppy stuff. I gravitate towards. But then I'll listen to like James Brown. You know, all in the same sentence. Slide into Family Stone. You know, like. I love everything.
You could see that from your music, though.
Mozart.
It reflects it. It reflects in your music, though, because there's like it's like a little, you put it in a blender and it's all there. You know, like that. But I got a little deep last week after singing, saw Stickman. Paul took a picture because he wanted a picture of my hat, and he pretended to take a picture of the band.
Yes, that's right.
But I was just thinking after I had these weird, I guess doing this, you start analyzing things.
Yeah.
Thinking, you do prog, I think, because you better be a really good musician. You want to sort of test yourself, see your limits, see how far you can go. Where, like, if you're doing roots, you better know how to craft a song. You don't necessarily have to be like a master player, but you should know how to.
Well, you gotta have the soul behind roots music, right? But you know, the stuff that we saw at Stickman that was so technical, and it was interesting being there. I was there because Steve Piper was at our table along with Julie, and I was talking with him afterwards, and he's an Americana guy. You know, he's always played roots music in Americana, and he's a singer-songwriter, and he said, you know, it's so interesting to be at a show like this where it's so highly technical. He goes, it's not the sort of thing I would have gone out and sought out, but he said, seeing these guys play and how, like, he said, I would have thought before the show that it was something for, like, moody 14-year-old boys, and now seeing it, it's, like, absolutely incredible how, what great music it really is. So it's interesting getting musicians that are kind of in one groove, you know, in a different, experiencing other types of music, and hear his feedback on that. Right, it was great to get his perspective on it because I'm pretty diverse, like you are. I listen to like everything, and so. Yeah,
I was the only one at the RPO the other week wearing a punk rock shirt. Actually, I loved it. We were in the lobby during the intermission. The Emperor's Concerto was great, but we're out there. We're in the lobby, right? I see a kid come by with a Guns N' Roses shirt on. And I'm like, this is great. This is great.
I got tickets to see RPO. They're doing Jurassic Park movie.
Those are fun, though. I've been to a lot of those. Those are really
fun. I've
been
to the like Halloween. Oh my God, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I was at
that. That was awesome.
They have a Beatles symphonic one in a couple weeks too.
Joe, we should get tickets.
Really? Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
we have our running jokes on here. We make fun of drummers. We make fun of that and everything. But tell us a little bit about your studio work and your albums. And like the first time you did it, how was the process and everything? And...
Oh my God, the first time I did it was in like somebody's bedroom. It was like, or like a closet. No, well, oh yeah. Well, I guess, yeah.
You mean, the music.
Yes, not. I just realized how wrong that came out. It was literally like in like this very small like closet type room, and we just like I think I don't know, it was weird. My friend Matt, who is a drummer, the two of us like he hooked me up with this guy Alex, and he's like, oh, he does recording out of his apartment. So that was like my first recordings, but my it's crazy to hear. Like, I like to record like once a year because for growth purposes, you know, like not. And now at this point, like to always have something new to give to my audience, you know. So but yeah, my voice has changed tremendously. I think I was singing entirely wrong for like the first 4 years of my career, you know, and it's been like a process. Like it's so, you know, as I've been growing as a songwriter, I've just grown as a musician a lot.
And I think it all comes naturally. That's the important thing. You're not trying to. I think what Bowie, his problem was, and I love Bowie, but after the success of Let's Dance, I think like the next couple albums weren't as good because I think for the first time ever, it's like I have to do a commercial. Instead of just go. Then he went back to like Tin Machine and all the stuff naturally, and that's what I think. He never cared. He just would pick one album, do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I just always wanted to keep on writing. Like right.
So when somebody goes to your show and you sort of branch out and launch a doom metal song at them, they might get them.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's.
And I think too I love hearing those stories like back in the old days because we didn't have this technology. I think we're born in an age where technology. I used to say like when my brother was in a band that you would hear it would sound quote unquote local because it would be not the best recording and everything else. And these days everything could sound great.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And I love like different things like Tom Waits did Mule Variations. He recorded in a barn. Mm-hmm. Led Zeppelin recorded something like at Headley Grange where they like Bonham would go up, play in the hallway to get the sound.
It's interesting how people got the sound before digital, right? So you were talking about Bowie when he did Heroes. He started off right on top of the mic, and then he took a step back, and then he took a step back. So he starts off just being really intimate with the mic, and he ends up screaming 20 feet away from the mic into the mic, and that's how they got that effect on his vocal on that song. And it's very analog, right? So you think about what we do digitally today, and people don't think about that interaction between the recording equipment and the artist as much as they used to. I think it's
just from being in the studio and seeing the process, it's amazing.
Yeah. I love being in the studio. I could like totally see myself being a studio rat.
I've often just wanted to rent this place as an apartment to stay here.
Yeah,
well, Greg lived here through COVID, so
yeah.
We have him on the security camera, so.
I've been recording with Mike Gladstone for the past few years, and he's been like producing my work. Yeah, he's an incredible mind. Like watching him work and just seeing what he does like on a production level is so impressive to me. And it's like he's literally composing on top of a composition, and like we have a great working relationship, and it's been really fun. Like I feel like I learn something new like after.
How are
every
you like
session
that? Are you more like as a solo artist, or you look to? Because I think there's a different dynamic doing everything solo, or looking for other people to bounce things off of. And like if you were given an idea, and maybe somebody like you're working with said, that's really good, but maybe if you tried it this way, it would be better. Are you open to that, or you just like bash him over the head with like a tambourine or something? No, it's mine. It's mine.
No, Mike and I have a collaborative relationship. Like where I go and I record my song. Like this is my song in the raw. Like just me and piano or me and guitar. And I have a lot of like ideas for vocals, like production wise, like for backup vocals and harmonies. So like I'll lay down like my ideas, and then we'll go through the song together, and Mike basically will like pick up a guitar and be like, okay, like, what do you think of this? And we'll be like, and that's how, like, so it's like building it piece by piece with guitar, bass, drums, and strings, orchestration, harmonies. And it's like when you take all those layers, that to me is so exciting.
And I love like how things come together like that. Mm-hmm. Isn't it fun sometimes maybe where you start like a song at point A and you never knew by the time it's at point Z it's almost totally different, but really you're thinking, why did I like this how did just the groove like from a little pea to like a beanstalk and up to the.
Do you ever get a collaboration with him where he suggests a different tempo or anything like that?
Not yet. But I wouldn't be, and I'd be open to it.
Right.
I just, especially at this point, like I really respect like his. I mean, he's just done such great work, like I respect and give him my full trust, and that's like really special, like I've worked with a lot of people, and there's not a lot of people I can say that, I felt that trust with, so it's cool.
It's the part about finding where you belong. I think I always keep using that theme. I think that's my little theme for the last couple of years. But you also, I get this from seeing you play live, that you really enjoy playing live, and you get feedback from the audience. And, you can tell when people are like, okay, we have to go to like hour 29. We are off at hour 29. I say that like when I saw Deep Purple, I swear that they knew how long they had to play, and they bailed.
That was the union.
Yeah. And the other thing, it's also like I think you have to be open. You should have a little bit of an ego, and not ego, but confidence in yourself because you're really good. But you should be open to other things too, because that's like sometimes I look back at like some people I really like, say Jeff Beck, and I think he's great. Can you imagine if he could actually work with people, how much more stuff he could have done, how much better. Because he just couldn't really work with other people.
Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing.
No, it's nothing really to add there.
I mean,
I got nothing.
We asked this question. We had Lily on. Lily Winwood was on the show a couple weeks ago, and you know, it's interesting because the people in Nashville and women in Nashville that we've talked to and said, you know, so we've heard other people say, you know, they write collaboratively with other artists, and the pickup line in Nashville is, "Hey, we should write together sometime." Right? and it's just what artists say to each other, right?
It's all co-writes.
So we asked her, and she said, "Nope."
Yeah.
And she stumped us. It was like, "Really?" And she goes, "Nope, just me and myself. That's it. I just, you know, I sit down and I write, and don't collaborate with anybody." And
I think it's a choice. Like, I know, like, anytime I've gone out to Nashville, it's like everybody's talking about co-writes, and there's a lot of that going on, right? Because everybody wants to write the next hit song, you know. So the fastest that song could come, it's, you know, you put two minds together instead of one.
Well, you got two networks together too, right? In terms of getting the sound out there, and
so there's a lot of collaboration happening. I love working on a collaborative level. To me, like, that's so. I think I tried to get here, and then I like brain farted somewhere in between my spiel earlier. But during COVID,
welcome to the show. Yeah. We do it all the time.
Brain farts never.
But during COVID, I was saying, like, I was really not inspired to write my own music. But so I was teaching virtually, and one of my students, Abby Riggins, so. Her parents brought her to me. She's legally blind, and her parents, she's got a voice of an angel. And her parents brought her to me and were like, you know, we're not musical, but, you know, we need somebody, like, she needs singing lessons. And I like, this girl opens her mouth. I'm like, she does not need singing lessons. Like, she has such a natural ability. I could help her, but I, like, basically took on a mentorship position with her, and, like, we've been working together, and when I found out she writes music, we started writing. So she's like, I have vocal melodies, but I don't play anything. So I was like, all right. So I started composing for her, and now we have like a full-fledged project and just recorded. But over COVID, I was like not inspired to write my stuff, but through our virtual collaboration, like I would compose, she'd sing me the music, and then I started composing for her. And then it became a matter of, like, almost, like, producing and then writing songs with her. Because, like, she'd have, like, some half-finished stuff. And I, like, was like, oh, well, why don't we do this, you know? So it ended up being this collaboration that, like, I wasn't inspired to write for me, but she inspired me to write for her. And then in building that relationship, we are now able to write with each other. And I've learned so much from her, and she learned so much from me. And it's just like how, like, that the mentorship, like, it almost flip-flops. Like, as we're mentoring people,
it's a two-way street.
Yeah, totally. They mentor you in return, and, you know, it's just, I think about that with Girls Rock. You know,
somebody should do like a coffee table picture book and stories about some of the people from there. It would be awesome, like for like charity. That would be like really cool. Here's some of the stories.
Yeah.
And then if people ever say, like, well, music's not important, go, well, what's this? You know.
It's very important. I don't know how anybody could think that, but
there's a lot of idiots out there for different stuff, you know, or people have that tunnel vision. If they don't like doing it, or maybe they got forced to sing in choir when they were kids and hated it or something, or...
I think anything that helps people is important.
That's what I say. I keep saying like that about that's what was like my lifeline over the years. Is I knew I had my shows and everything else to go to. Then I knew I had my computer shows after that was. But what's coming? This has been very fun and everything. Is always like it's
Thank
always
you.
fun.
Yeah, thanks for letting me.
It's always. But what's coming up for Girls Rock for you?
So Girls Rock, it's really we just launched our applications for both campers and volunteers. We have lots of employment opportunities for anybody who is looking for a fun job this summer for all three of our camps. And you could go to girlsrockrochester.org and please fill out an application. You don't have to be a music teacher. You just got to have a really beautiful heart and love music, and we'll find a position for you. That's Girls Rock.
And what's the camp?
We had karaoke today too.
Oh,
I don't know if this is live or not.
Where's karaoke tonight?
It's actually talk. It comes out way. They come out on Mondays, but you could tell us about it, and people will know what it was.
Yeah.
He does karaoke.
It's I'm leaving you guys, and I'm going to host teen karaoke for the teens. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
What do they? I can't imagine some of the songs they pick.
A lot of it's like poppy stuff.
It's like you probably know like some of the stuff because like that's the only time I feel old. I do not know like with the Oscars. I didn't even hear like Coda. Like for the Grammys, I've never heard of like
such a good movie.
I get to it 2 years later. That's always my problem. But like for the Grammys, a lot of times I don't know who the artists are.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Grammys.
I'm more like an indie person, anyways. That's the thing, but.
Me too. Spotify is definitely my best friend. Like,
that's the one thing. Like these days, you can get your music out there, but there's the only thing. Sometimes there's so much of it, you have to swim through so much.
Yeah, I love it. I love having access to like all different types of music like that. It's great. But
what is in terms of you for like music and recording and new projects and anything? What's coming up and where are you playing soon?
So this Friday, I'm playing at Record Archive with Shades. That's mine and Abby's project. We're also releasing our single, The Lies You Believe, that we have a video that we're just putting out on our YouTube channel and on like Instagram, social media, Facebook. So please check that out and eventually download our music.
I'm still a Luddite about that. Yeah. I still do the CDs, the albums.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing that from more people. I have friends who don't even. I have musician friends who don't even have like CD players anymore.
It's crazy. Like I don't think CD players even come in computers anymore. Like
they don't.
They don't. It's crazy.
Because when we saw Anonymous Willpower, Don said, "Do you have something to play a CD on?" And it's like. Yeah, why? And he goes, here, and he handed us like 4 CDs.
And I know Alyssa did her Christmas album only like on Spotify, nothing like. So you have to just go with the times. You can't be like an old curmudgeon, like get off my lawn type like me. But this has been very fun. It's like always. And Paul, you did more than one syllable words. You did good as a drummer, so thank you.
Well, sorry, I let the drummer seat down by being polysyllabic.
But we also we're thrilled. What were you going to do? We're going to have some songs at the end. What did you pick out? And can you just say something about them?
Like the songs
whatever you sent. That we're just going to play at the end of the show.
The Lies You Believe is the song.
If they come out now, maybe they usually do, but we don't want to. A couple times they like vanished into ether. So
that's okay. The Lies You Believe is mine and Abby's new song, and it's. We recorded it, and it was recorded and produced with Mike Gladstone, and we're really proud of it. It's just about like how sometimes it's very easy to get in your own head and to tell yourself, these things that that this isn't worth it, or you're not going anywhere, or like the lies you believe about like life, and then you realize on the other end of it, no, I deserve more than this. I love, like learning to embrace yourself, and it has like a little positive twist.
Be excellent to yourself.
Yeah, it's a good little story. Check it out. I'm very proud of it.
Yes, you could find this all over the place. You're online. You all do all the modern.
Yes, it'll be up on Spotify and Apple Music and iHeartRadio and all that good stuff. You could ask Alexa, and she'll play it for you.
Isn't that way? Did you ever think when we grew up, honestly, you get to a point where you can just
talk to your devices?
I saw somebody talking to their wrist the other day, and all I could think of was Dick Tracy.
Oh my God! Right? Like the flying cars next.
Could you be people came down now and some guy was like, you would think this person was talking to himself when I was walking. Guy's just going by, and he's obviously.
The first time I ever saw somebody in a grocery store talking to somebody on their wireless headset, I thought they were nuts.
Yeah, I know.
So
Bluetooth.
Brave new world. Fun. But thanks a lot, Amanda, for being on. Thanks, Paul, for.
Happy to be here.
Yes.
Take care, Greg.
Thanks, Peanut Gallery over there. And go support Girls Rock. Check out Amanda's stuff. It's great. And see you next time. Bye.
This I believe, flowers never grow if you plant them in a cave. They'll never see the light of day. Cold and alone in the dark, buried deep are unseen seeds. Nothing left but the lies believed. You were born with something less. Never mind success. Maybe it's not meant for me. Always second best. Maybe it's not meant to be. You can search, but you will find the great world doesn't care that you left behind. Your roots run deep in failure. When you've had no chance to grow, these are lies you believe. The truth is never known. You'll never really know the truth until it happens to you.
This I believe, isolation is a weapon.